Kia ora koutou, it's Julia Grace here again. I hope your week has gone okay, all things considering. I'm feeling a little bit like this chicken here, wanting to maybe run for the hills and get away. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment. But today I want to share with you a little piece of science, and it's this. Stressed out brains are offline brains. It pays to plan ahead. Now, what does this mean? When we are under pressure, when we're under stress, our brain's ability to problem solve is deeply impaired. Right in that moment when you need your brain to be helping you to solve a problem, sort out an issue, figure out a relationship, come up with a really practical solution, its ability to do that has dropped right off the radar. And there's a really good reason for that. When we're under pressure, the amygdala, the part of our brain that responds emotionally to keep us alive, the part that puts us into that fight, flight or freeze mode, is really strongly activated. And so the parts that are more rational, more productive, perhaps more able to predict the consequences of our actions, they are kind of dialed down in that moment. Now, rather than fighting this or beating ourselves up about this, it's better to understand what's going on so that we can see that we're not just stupid. Because we can end up feeling quite dumb in these moments when the normal things that we would be able to handle suddenly become too much. I remember one day I went to a Pilates class and I had a lot going on in my world. I was feeling quite stressed and pressured. And I went along to the class. I was feeling really proud of myself that I'd got all my ducks in a row. I'd got my gear, I got my outfit, I'd driven myself to the studio. I'd got into the class and I was like, yes, I'm nailing life here in this moment. But unfortunately, my stressed out brain was a partially offline brain, and I soon discovered why. We started the class and I stretched up to the sky. We stretched to the right and to the left, and then we stretched down. And suddenly I noticed on my right hand side I had one beautiful smooth, silky, shaved leg, and on the other side I had one stubbly, prickly, not shaved leg. I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, what an idiot. How could you do this? How could you be so silly? Hopefully nobody else, notices. But in the middle of all of that, my ability to problem solve and just do the practical things had really gone out the window. And like I said, this can feel quite embarrassing, and it can cause us to lose our confidence, to lose our courage, and maybe our confidence in our ability to get stuff done. We start to say things like, oh, I'm so stupid, idiot, why can't you do this? Because normally I'd be totally able to do this, but right now it's actually really challenging for me. I'd like to remind you of the incredible scripture in Hebrews 10 verse 35, where the writer says, don't throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. Just because you're struggling, just because things are falling through the cracks, just because our stressed out brains are a little bit offline, doesn't mean we need to lose our confidence. We can learn and understand more about this incredible brain that God has given us and learn to roll with the punches. So let's talk about writing lists. As we're working on practical problem solving, one great way to deal with that is to write a list. But actually what I want to encourage you to do is, instead of writing a to-do list, to consider writing a I bring list. Sometimes when we start a task, we feel overwhelmed. That stressed out brain's gone offline and we start to write the things we need to do, and then we're just like, oh my gosh, this is just all too much. It's all too hard. Our brain is already shut down. Our brain has gone into fight or flight or freeze mode, and it's just kind of saying, I've had enough, and we haven't even started. So by starting with an I bring list, we can help get our brain into the right frame of mind. What the heck is an I bring list? What it is a list of the things that I bring to the table that I know are going to help me to complete the task at hand. If I sit down today to say, look, my task is to make this video for you guys, and I need to come up with something brilliant and helpful, I can start by saying, what do I bring to the table? I bring passion for the work that I do. I bring my experience in front of the camera. I bring all my study and the work that I've done around mental health. I bring my own experience to the table. I bring 30 years as a teacher. I bring these things to the table, and by beginning to list down the things that you bring, the gifts, the talents, the skills, and all the things, you will begin to see that you are fully equipped to do what it is that you need to do. And if you're not, you'll begin to see some ways in which you can help to upskill those things. What's going to happen is you're going to see that you do have the things in your hands ready to do. You can be incredibly grateful to God for all that He has given you in this moment. And of course, your brain will be set up ready with a nice little dopamine boost, fully firing with those endorphins, feeling good about the task, because you will know that you are bringing a whole lot of stuff to the table, because you, my friend, are amazing. So today, stressed out brains, maybe offline brains, but that doesn't mean we need to throw away our confidence. We can learn more about what's happening in those incredible brains, and instead of starting with a to-do list, we can actually write ourselves an I bring. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you again next week. Ka kite anō.